She collapsed at his door. The snowstorm was stronger than ever that night. Cold winds howled like wild animals outside. The sky was dark, no stars, no moon. Just thick clouds and falling snow. In the middle of this frozen world, a small cabin stood, alone near the ruins of the old Arctic station. Inside, a man named Dr. Ethan Voss sat near a fire. He had a long beard, sharp eyes, and hands that once built machines which changed the world. Now, he lived far from everyone. Ethan was once a top scientist for the Global Unity Project, GUP, a powerful organization that disappeared after a mysterious disaster 20 years ago. He left that life behind, or so he thought. Suddenly, just past midnight, he heard it knock, knock, soft, weak, but real. Ethan stood up quickly. No one came here, not for years. He walked to the door and opened it slowly. What he saw froze him more than the cold. A young woman stood in the snow, barely conscious. Her clothes were torn, covered in ice and blood. She wore an old military jacket, and on her sleeve was the GUP symbol, the same one that was banned years ago, before Ethan could speak. The woman collapsed at his feet. He bent down, shocked. Her skin was ice cold. Her lips were blue. She was still breathing, but barely. Without wasting a second, he carried her inside. The fire crackled as he placed her on the old couch. He covered her with blankets and started his medical scanner, a tool he hadn't used in years. Her vitals were strange. Her heartbeat was too slow, but her brain activity was strange. Her body had biotech implants that Ethan hadn't seen since GUP's final days. She was not normal. After some time, her eyes opened. Bright green, but full of fear, she looked around and tried to sit up. Her hand reached for something, a weapon maybe, but she was too weak. "It's okay," Ethan said. "You're safe now." She looked at him, breathing hard, and then whispered something that made Ethan freeze. Code 17 Zeta. Dustfall protocol. Confirm clearance. Ethan stepped back. That code was top secret. Only elite GUP agents knew it. And it hadn't been spoken in 20 years. "Who are you?" Ethan asked, voice low. She coughed and replied, "Lieutenant Arya Wynn, GUP Intel Division. They're coming." I had no choice. Then she fainted again. Ethan's mind was spinning. Arya Wynn. That name. It was familiar. He ran to his old computer system, dusted off the screen, and accessed hidden files from long ago. He searched the GUP death records. There it was. Lieutenant Arya Wynn died in Lab 7 explosion. Year 2176. Ethan looked at the woman again. Same face, same name. How is this possible? He whispered. He touched the implant behind her ear. It was still active and it held data. But the encryption was old, buried under layers of forgotten code. He decrypted part of it. A video file open. On the screen was himself, older, tired, looking directly into the camera. "Ethan," the future version said, "if you're watching this, she found you. Don't trust her. Don't trust anyone, not even me." The screen turned black. Ethan stood still, heart racing. The fire cracked louder now. The storm outside grew wilder. And inside the cabin, two things were clear. Arya Wynn was alive, against all records. The past was not dead. It had come back, knocking at his door, and what came next could change everything. He let her in. Snow kept falling outside, covering the world in silence. Inside the cabin, Dr. Ethan Voss sat near the fire, watching the strange woman sleep. Her name was Arya Wynn. According to official records, she had died 21 years ago, in a lab explosion. But here she was alive, cold, and unconscious in his home. He had let her in. But now, he was starting to wonder why she came. Ethan didn't trust easily. Not anymore. He had seen the world change. He had seen friends disappear. He had seen truth become lies. He looked at Arya again. Her breathing was slower now, calm. The scanner near her showed strange readings. Her body wasn't normal. She had advanced biotech implants, the kind used only in high-level GUP operations, deep black projects, never spoken of again. Then she moved. Her eyes opened. She sat up fast, gasping for air. Her eyes darted around the cabin like a hunted animal. She tried to stand, but her legs shook. She reached into her jacket, empty. "No one followed you," Ethan said. "You're safe." She looked at him sharply. "Where am I?" "My cabin. 30 miles north of the Arctic ruins. You knocked. You collapsed. I brought you in." Arya touched the back of her head. There was dried blood. Her eyes softened for a second. "You were with Gup," she said slowly. "Was?" Ethan replied. "That was a lifetime ago." She nodded, then whispered, "I remember you. You were the one who made the memory core. Project DUSK?" Ethan's face changed. "Project Dusk doesn't exist," he said. She laughed, bitterly. "That's what they told me too before they tried to erase me." Ethan walked to his desk and picked up a small chip. "This was in your implant. I decrypted it." He pressed a button. The hologram of future Ethan appeared again. "Ethan," the older version said, "if you're watching this, she found you. Don't trust her, not even me." Arya watched in silence. "Do you know what this means?" Ethan asked. She nodded. "I saw that message before. I was there when he recorded it." "What are you saying?" "I'm not from this time," Arya whispered. "I was sent forward. Through a temporal rift. A side effect of Project Dusk. They thought I died in the lab explosion. But I didn't. I woke up somewhere else." "Where?" She hesitated, then said, "The future." Ethan sat down, silent. Arya continued, her voice shaking. "They changed everything. The world you know, it's fake, rewritten memories, controlled thoughts. The future is ruled by them. The memory lords. They erase people, rewrite history, and hide the truth." Ethan looked at her closely. "And you came back to stop them?" "I didn't come back," she said. "I escaped." Suddenly, a high-pitched beep came from Ethan's scanner. Motion detected. Outside, Ethan grabbed his old rifle. Arya stood up, holding onto the wall for balance. "Is it them?" he asked. "It's too soon," Arya said, worried. "They're not supposed to find me yet." Ethan looked out the window. Nothing, just white snow and silence. But the scanner didn't lie. He turned back to Arya. "You need to tell me everything." She nodded. "But if we stay here, we'll both die." Ethan didn't ask why. He felt it too. Something had changed. He had let her in, but what had he really invited? And somewhere deep in the snow, a small red light blinked once, then disappeared. What she remembered shocked him. The storm outside had calmed, but inside the cabin, a storm was just beginning. Dr. Ethan Voss sat across from Arya Wynn. The fire between them crackled, throwing shadows on the wooden walls. Neither of them spoke for a while. Then Arya broke the silence. "I remember everything now." Ethan looked up, cautious. "Everything about what?" "Project Dusk, what it really was. What they used it for, and what they did to you." Ethan leaned forward. "What do you mean?" Arya took a deep breath. Her voice was quiet, but every word hit like a bullet. "They lied to all of us. Project Dusk wasn't about helping the world. It wasn't about energy or healing or time research. It was about control, total mind control. They wanted to rewrite human memory, rewrite history, even personality." Ethan's face darkened. "No, I created Dusk as a memory backup system. For medical use. That's what they told you," she said. "But they used your tech to build something else. Something they called the Thought Engine." He blinked. "That name was buried deep in classified files. They started testing it on soldiers first," Arya continued. "Then civilians. I was one of the first test subjects. They said it was for training, but they planted false memories. They changed what I believed." She looked directly at Ethan. "And they did the same to you?" He froze. "No," he whispered. "I left before it went that far. I walked away." "No, Ethan," she said. "You didn't. You think you left because that's what they programmed you to remember." Ethan stood up, backing away slightly. His heartbeat quickened. He touched the back of his neck. Was it possible? Arya pulled a small metal cube from her jacket. "This has your real memories. I stole it from their vault before I escaped. You were their final test subject. The perfect brain, full of data, innovation, and obedience." He stared at the cube. "You expect me to believe I'm some kind of puppet?" "I don't expect you to believe anything," she said. I'm just showing you the truth. Silence again, then Ethan asked quietly, "Why would they want to erase me?" Arya replied, "Because you found a way to fight back. And they couldn't let you remember that." A faint beep interrupted them. Ethan's scanner flashed again, multiple heat signatures approaching fast. "They found us." Arya said. Ethan grabbed the cube and stuffed it into his coat. "We can't stay here." As they rushed to pack, Ethan stopped by a locked cabinet. He opened it, revealing a dusty black case. "What's that?" Arya asked. "Something I never thought I'd use again," Ethan replied. He opened it. Inside was a compact energy weapon, once banned by international law. "You're a scientist." Arya said. "Not tonight," Ethan replied. They stepped outside. The cold hit them like a wall. But it wasn't the snow that made Ethan shiver now. It was the truth crawling through his mind. Had his whole life been a lie? Behind them, the scanner screen glowed red. 7 hostiles detected. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. And somewhere beneath the snow, hidden under layers of ice, the thought engine had just activated. Again, truth is a weapon. Snow crunched beneath their boots as Ethan and Arya moved quickly through the dark forest. Behind them, the cabin where secrets had awakened was now a memory, fading in the distance. Just like the life Ethan thought he knew, the cold air cut through their jackets, but neither of them spoke. The silence wasn't because of fear. It was because of truth. A heavy truth Ethan could no longer escape. He had just learned that his memories might be false, that his past may have been written, and that the woman walking beside him was the only link to something real. "They're tracking you, not me." Suddenly, Arya stopped. Ethan turned. "Why?" She pointed to the sky, between the snowflakes. Tiny black shapes floated above the trees, silent, watching. Drones. "They're tracking you," Arya said. "Not me." "That's impossible," Ethan replied. "I've been off-grid for years." "No one goes off-grid anymore," Arya said. "Not after DUSK." Ethan clenched his fists. "Then we destroy them," Arya shook her head. "Not here, not in the open. They're not just here to kill us. They're here to study you, to see if you're starting to remember." He looked at her, confused. "Why would they care what I remember?" "Because truth is a weapon now," Arya said. "And you, Ethan, you were the one who built it." The archive bunker. They reached a frozen path, half covered in roots and ice. At the end stood a metal door, hidden under a pile of rocks and frost. Ethan recognized it. "This is one of the GUP archive bunkers," he said. Arya nodded. "This one was buried after the DUSK incident, but I came here before. I left something behind, something that proves you were part of the resistance." Ethan's eyes narrowed. "I was part of a resistance? You didn't just build the thought engine," she said. "You broke it. You figured out how to block memory rewriting. And you used it on yourself before they erased you." He felt dizzy. Part of him wanted to run. The other part wanted to know everything. Arya pulled out a passkey and scanned it. Across the frozen panel, the door clicked and slid open. They stepped inside. The forgotten message inside the bunker. Dust filled the air like ghosts of the past. Broken screens, cracked floors, and old servers lined the walls. Arya led Ethan to a terminal still glowing with a faint green light. She inserted the cube he had taken from the cabin. Screen blinked. Then a video started playing on the screen. Was Ethan again, but this time younger, angry, awake. "I don't know if this will ever reach me," the video, Ethan said. "But if it does, then they failed to stop me. You built the firewall, Voss. You locked your mind for a reason. You knew they'd try to control you. But remember this, your mind is not a prison. It's a battlefield. And you are the weapon." The video ended. Real Ethan stood silent. Arya looked at him carefully. "Do you remember now?" He didn't answer, but something changed in his eyes. A spark. "I'm starting to..." Incoming. Suddenly, lights inside the bunker turned red. LERT. Unauthorized scan detected. "They found us," Arya said. Ethan didn't hesitate. He picked up a pulse rifle from the wall, one he built long ago. "You said I made something to block their control?" he asked. She nodded. "Where is it?" "You already have it," she said. "It's in your mind." The sound of boots echoed above the bunker hatch. Arya raised her weapon. You ready? Ethan smiled, a strange, confident smile that hadn't touched his face in years. No, he said, I'm remembering. The hatch exploded open, and the war for truth began again. Past is not what you think. Smoke filled the cold bunker air. The sound of gunfire had stopped. Outside, the snow still fell quietly, as if the world had no idea a war had just begun. Inside, Ethan stood over the body of a fallen soldier, not a man, but a machine. A synthetic clone, dressed in human skin, designed to hunt minds, not just people. He dropped the empty rifle. His hands were shaking, not from fear, but from memory. Something inside him was waking up. This isn't the first time. Arya patched a small wound on Ethan's shoulder. That was close, she said. Ethan didn't answer. He was staring at the bunker walls, staring like he'd seen them before. This isn't the first time I've been here, he said quietly. Arya looked at him. You remember? Pieces, he replied. Like broken glass. I see a child. Not mine. A message, written in code and something buried. Buried? Arya asked. He looked at her, eyes dark. A grave. The walk to the grave. An hour later, they were walking again. Snow deeper now. Their path led them into a field of half-buried ruins. They reached a small hill. At the top, a metal post stuck out of the ground, old, rusted. Ethan stopped. His face turned pale. There it was, a grave marker, half covered in snow. The name engraved on it made his blood freeze. Ethan Vosborn, 2139. Died, 2197. He chose to forget, so others could remember. Ethan dropped to his knees. This is me. Yes, Arya said softly. In one version of time, you died here, in this field. After hiding the last piece of the firewall code, he looked up. But I'm still alive. In this timeline, Arya said. But the memory of your death was buried in your mind? As a warning? You didn't just build the firewall. Arya knelt beside him. You weren't just a builder of the firewall, she said. You were the carrier. You stored the Resistance's last key, not in a drive, not in a server, but in your own memory, encrypted, hidden, locked under fake memories. Ethan looked down. Then why don't I have it? Because you gave it to someone else, she said. He turned sharply. Who? Arya took a breath. Me. The second Ethan stepped back. What are you talking about? I'm not the original Arya Wynn, she said slowly. I'm a fragment. A copy built from her mind. She saved a part of herself in the thought engine and embedded the code inside that fragment. Ethan's hands balled into fists. You're telling me you're synthetic? No, she said. I'm something different. Not machine. Not human. I'm memory, made real. Ethan stood in stunned silence. Then he laughed, bitter and tired. All this time, I thought I was helping you escape the memory lords, he said. You were, Arya replied. But not just me. You were helping your own truth escape. Through me. He looked at her again, not with fear, but something else. Understanding. The decision. The snow began to fall harder. In the distance, more drones hummed through the sky. We have to move, Arya said. Where now? To the core ruins, she said. That's where the thought engine is buried. That's where the final firewall piece must go. Ethan nodded slowly. Then we end this, he said. But deep inside, a question still burned in his heart. If the past was fake, who had he really been? And when the final truth came, would he still recognize himself? The imposters' game. They reached the ruins by nightfall. Tall metal towers leaned like broken bones against the sky. Rusted pipes hissed steam into the cold air. A heavy door, half buried in ice, marked the entrance to the thought engine core. The place where everything began. And everything had gone wrong. Ethan and Arya stood in silence. Neither moved. Something about the place felt alive, like the past itself was waiting to speak. You've been here before. Ethan placed his hand on the door panel. It lit up instantly. I locked this door 21 years ago, he whispered. But I don't remember doing it. The scanner beeped. Voice match. Dr. Ethan Voss. Access granted. The door slid open with a long, cold breath. Inside was darkness. And then footsteps. The real Arya. Out of the shadows came a woman. Same face. Same eyes, but her body moved like it. Hadn't seen sunlight in decades. Her skin was pale, her voice dry. She spoke one word. Ethan. Ethan froze. Arya beside him stepped back. The woman stepped closer. I'm Lieutenant Arya. Win. Serial code 427Z. You're not supposed to be here. Ethan turned to the Arya who had traveled with him. She looked terrified. I can explain, she began. No, said the woman in front of them. I will. She raised a hand and a screen lit up behind her, showing data logs, memory maps, and a strange pulsing code. This is the Thought Engine's core archive, she said. And this is where I've been asleep for 21 years in cryostasis, waiting to be activated, waiting to stop her. She pointed directly at the Arya standing beside Ethan. She isn't me. She's not who you think, the real Arya said. Ethan stepped between them, heart pounding. If she's not you, then what is she? The real Arya replied. She's an echo, a synthetic construct, a failed clone grown from memory fragments I left behind. She was never meant to survive. But I did, the other Arya said. And I remember you, I remember saving you, I remember feelings, emotions, things no machine should have. That's the danger, the real Arya said coldly. She's unstable, she carries data from corrupted timelines. She thinks it's real, but it's not, it's mixed with false memories. Ethan looked at both of them, same face, different souls. One was created from flesh and truth, the other from memory and emotion, and both claimed to be the key. The system tests. Suddenly, the Thought Engine's lights flashed. A robotic voice spoke. Multiple memory cores detected. Conflict present. Begin identity verification. A beam of light scanned both Arya's. Match, 61%. Conflict, 39%. Integration possible. Warning. Outcome unknown. Ethan backed up. What is it doing? It's trying to merge us, the clone Arya said quietly. If that happens, the real Arya warned, one of us won't survive. Ethan stepped forward. No, there has to be another way. There isn't, said the clone. The firewall key is split between us. Only one whole memory can unlock it. She looked at Ethan. Let me do it. Let me finish what you started. The real Arya shouted, You don't know what you're carrying. You're corrupted. But I feel it, the clone said. That's more than data. That's who I am. The choice the engine waited. Ethan stood between them, breathing hard, a memory whispering in his mind, his own voice from the past. When the time comes, don't choose what's real. Choose what's right. He looked at both Aryas, two versions. Of one person, one pure. One imperfect, but only one had stayed beside him when he had nothing. Only one had chosen to run toward the truth, not away from it. Ethan made his choice. He reached for the control panel. I trust her, he said. And the Thought Engine began to glow. The final rewrite. The Thought Engine hummed like a living thing. Blue. Lights circled the two Aryas, one human, one memory made. Ethan stood at the center of it all, hand trembling over the activation pad. This wasn't just science anymore. It wasn't just a weapon. This was a final rewrite of truth, of time, and of who they were. Let it begin. Integration sequence. Ready, said the engine's voice. Ethan looked at the Arya who had traveled with him, the one who had fought beside him. Bled, doubted, remembered. She nodded once. Then he looked at the real Arya, the one who had survived in stasis. Untouched, untested. She said nothing, but her eyes held a warning. Ethan pressed the final command. Begin merge. The merge light filled the chamber. Both Aryas floated as beams scanned their memories. Code, DNA, thought patterns, all flowing. Into a central core, screams echoed, not of pain, but of conflict. Two minds. Fighting for space. One built from perfect records, one built from broken memories. And real experience. The engine voice spoke again. Conflict at 48%, 62%, 71%. Ethan stared, afraid it was too much. Then, silence. A new voice spoke, a voice that was both Arya and something more. I remember, she said, a new Arya. Light faded. One woman stood where two had been. Same face, but something different. Her eyes were deeper, as if holding more than one lifetime. I know everything now, she said quietly. What they did to us, what they hid, and what comes next. Ethan stepped closer. Who are you? She smiled softly. I'm not the original. I'm not the copy. I'm the result. Then she held out her hand, and from her palm, a holographic key appeared, glowing, pulsing. The firewall is complete. The message to the future Ethan connected the key to the engine. Upload to public archives. He commanded. Authorization required, said the system. Arya stepped forward. I authorize. The engine obeyed. And in that moment the truth spread like light across satellites, through data webs, into every device still alive, people across Earth, Mars. The colonies, they saw it. The lies, the erased timelines, the memory control, the face of Ethan Voss and his message. You are more than what they told you. Truth is not given. It is fought for. The fall of the thought engine suddenly. Alarms screamed. Self-destruct activated, said the engine. Ethan looked at Arya. It knows it's lost. She nodded. It won't let anyone else use it. Then we run. The last escape, they ran. Through the tunnels as fire and ice shook the ruins, the walls cracked. Dust fell, the sky above split with the roar of collapsing steel. At the edge of the complex. They dove out as the core exploded behind them, a final death for a machine that tried to rewrite mankind. Snow fell again, this time clean. Years later, a small boy sat in the school. On Luna Station. He opened his history book. It began with a sentence. She collapsed at his door, covered in snow and shame. He raised his hand. Is this story real? The teacher smiled. Some say yes. Some say it was rewritten, but one thing's true. She looked out the window at the stars. Truth survived because someone chose to remember.